eminent researchers about willpower in the field of willpower in the world today. And the subtitle of the book is Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength. Yeah, it is one of the greatest human strengths. So let's try to understand the basics of willpower. What is willpower? Now, this is how the dictionary defines it. Willpower is control deliberately exerted to do something or to restrain one's own impulses. Really simple, really straightforward. Now, as we say, it is the greatest human strength, but with great power comes great responsibility. That's always the case. And the question is, are you using your willpower wisely? Will you use it wisely? Are you using it wisely? Or are you throwing away your life by abusing it? Now, this is a very powerful statement I make here. Are you throwing away your life by abusing your willpower? Because most people just don't know how to use it wisely. They just don't know how to use their willpower, and hence they end up not using it properly and abusing it. And that means you are not harnessing the greatest human strength. Okay, so let's talk about the laws of willpower, some of the basic fundamental laws of willpower. Here's the key. Throughout the day, we have a finite amount of willpower. We don't have an infinite amount of willpower. We can't just generate willpower out of nowhere. We only have a finite amount of willpower available to us any given moment. And the other key is that no matter what you use your willpower for, it comes from the same bucket of willpower. Whether you use your willpower for working out, whether you use it for controlling your diet, whether you use it for controlling your emotions, whether you use it for working hard at your office, whether you use it for creating a video like this, it is coming from one bucket of willpower. The third key, really important key about willpower, is like muscle. We can build and exercising it by strengthening it, but at the same time, if we use it through the day, it will deplete its strength. It will get weaker as we continue to use it again and again. Through it, we can strengthen it if we use it properly. If we use that muscle properly, if we strengthen the muscle properly, we can we can make it stronger. But if we don't use the muscle properly, if we don't make good use of the muscle, it will weaken over time. So there is a right way to use willpower and there's a wrong way to use willpower, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Now, here's the key. There are four kinds of willpower. We spend our willpower. So, as we talked about, willpower is about controlling deliberately. It's deliberate control. And so here's what we're controlling. We're controlling our thinking. What does it mean? Well, just for example, if you're trying to control your thinking, like I tell you, don't think of a white bear. Well, you end up thinking of a white bear, and not only that, now you've reduced your willpower. So controlling our thinking reduces our willpower. And just working on a task will deplete your willpower. Controlling your thinking because you're working on a task will deplete your willpower. Controlling your emotions, really powerful thing. They've done this experiment where they gave moviegoers tasks to control their emotions and to not have any emotional reaction while watching a really emotional movie. And what they found out was those moviegoers had depleted willpower levels. Another important way in which we use our impulses. Let's say not eating something delicious, or controlling our impulse to go online and do something that we really want to do. So another way to control our impulses, or exercise control. Another way we exercise control is performance. How we perform. Sometimes it is through perseverance. Sometimes when we're working on a hard problem and we persevere through it, that's performance. And we're controlling it, we're giving it our very best, but that's depleting our willpower. Another way, we're planning. We're using it to plan something important, really important use of willpower, but it's coming out of our overall bucket, and we have to be careful about it. Again, managing our time, managing our commitments, planning, persevering through important things. Again, this is where control comes in. This is where willpower comes in. So we just figured out how we expend our willpower. Now, one of the key things to understand around this book is the idea that our willpower is to be used. The best thing to do with our willpower is to use it properly. Because if we don't use it properly, we are just throwing it away. As we talked about, with great strength comes great power. So let's talk about what is the highest leverage use of willpower. Purely the highest leverage use of willpower, and it is to create keystone habits and to break bad habits. That's the best, the most powerful use of willpower. And what do we do? Like, so here's the key: successful people, most successful people, they become successful as a result of good habits, not as the result of one-off heroic effort once in a while. Does not Heroic efforts once in a while do not create success. Staying up all night once in a while does not create success. Working on a project once every 5 days, 7 days, 10 days does not create success. So the key to success is to having good habits. And the amazing thing about good habits is once we create one good habit, it can create a lot of other good habits. So for example, creating a habit of working out or exercising can lead you to a better eating habit, a better sleeping habit, a better morning productivity ritual, a better evening ritual. So many benefits of working out is one of the greatest habits we can develop in our lives. Now, one of the things in habit is to start and change, focus on one change at a time. Don't try to do multiple habits. Don't try to create multiple keystone habits. Just one change at a time, one big habit or exercise to create keystone habits, to create important, powerful habits. Here's the thing. I'm going to first, really simple process, but the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, what is the most important goal in your life right now? What is the single most important goal in your life right now? You can pause this video and write it down. Here's the second thing. What is the one habit you must have in order to accomplish this goal? What is the one habit you must have in order to accomplish this goal? And you know it yourself. Without this habit, this goal will not be realized. So ask yourself this question: what is the one habit you must have in order to accomplish this goal? The third step is to write down the 3 key steps that make up this habit. And any habit is made up of three parts. The cue is the thing that triggers this habit, which would be when, where, or many other cues. The second part of this habit is the routine itself. What exactly will you do? What is the habit itself? And as little as possible. And the third part of the habit is to have a reward. To build in every time you do that habit, you get a reward. Now let me give you an example. In my case, I developed the habit of meditation. I feel it is one of the most profoundly important things I do on a daily basis. It helps me beyond anything else I do. So what is my cue is that when I get out of the shower in the morning and I get dressed, that's my cue. As soon as I get out of the shower and I get dressed, I sit down to meditate. What is my routine to meditate? I sit down in a specific spot in one of my rooms, and then I turn on my alarm, my stop clock, and I put the 30-minute timer or 20-minute timer, whatever it is, and I turn it on, and I close my eyes and I start meditate. That is my meditation routine. Every day, every morning, as soon as I'm done with shower, I go and sit down to meditate. Nothing comes in between. There is no phone calls, no urgency, nothing. That's the routine. And then as soon as I'm done with meditation, my reward is I get to prepare breakfast, eat breakfast, and that is my daily morning meditation routine. Now you can have your own keystone habits and create your own keystone habit rituals and write out the whole thing and make sure you go through this process. The fourth step is to commit to executing on this habit for the next 7 days. And you have to use your willpower towards getting started on initially. It takes a lot of effort initially, and that's why you need a lot of willpower to get going initially. And after 7 days, you'll see that you're getting momentum and it's getting easier and easier to execute on this habit. Okay, so let's talk about what depletes willpower. Here's the key. Willpower gets depleted when you make decisions, because decision fatigue will lower your willpower. It constantly making even small decisions over and over again. I mean, a few pleasant decisions might be okay, but if you make a lot of them, it becomes taxing. So one of the strategies a lot of famous people use, for for example, President Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, what they do is they make a lot of these decisions automatic. They've already pre-made these decisions so that they don't have to think about them on a daily basis. So an example is that President Obama and Steve Jobs and Zuckerberg, what they do is they wear the same clothes again and again every day. They wear the same pair of same design, same type of clothes. Let's put it that way. So Steve Jobs used to wear turtleneck and blue jeans every day. That was his attire, and he did not need to think about that. He would wake up, and those were the clothes he would wear. Same for Zuckerberg. That's what he does. If you see him, he's always in a hoodie and jeans. And President Obama, same suits and tie, three colors that he has, and he wears them over and over and over again. The reason why these guys do it is because they don't want to fatigue their willpower for small decisions like this. And that's what you want to figure out. What you want to do is figure out what are all the small things that you spend time deciding on, or even if you feel like you're only spending a minute or two, that's fatiguing your willpower. So you don't want to make those decisions unnecessary. So what you want to do is stop making these small. Now, the other key to what depletes willpower is when we're using our willpower all the time for even for the smallest issues. If we're using our willpower for small challenges or small problems that don't necessarily have a big impact on our lives, on our long-term well-being, we unfortunately, willpower doesn't really have an indicator which says that because we used it for a specific kind of purpose, and hence it wouldn't deplete itself. That's not the way it works. No matter how inconsequential the issue might be, if you use the willpower, you're going to deplete it. I'm careful in how you use it, in what kind of issues you're applying it for. The other killer for willpower is stress. Okay, so now let's talk about how to increase our willpower. Now, there are three fundamentals to increase our willpower. And first of them is food. And the key here is to understand that our willpower fluctuates with our blood glucose levels. And in order to maintain a steady blood glucose level, we need to have a low glycemic index diet. What a low glycemic means is a diet comprised of foods which process slowly and hence slowly. They don't cause a spike in our blood sugar. They don't cause our blood sugar to go up dramatically and then down. While high glycemic index foods, the foods you want would be sugary sodas and drinks, and even sugar of any kind, breads, chips, chocolates, anything that has sugar, anything that is processed is usually a high glycemic index food that you want to avoid, because a high glycemic index food will give you a really strong rush of glucose, but then it will crash, and hence your brain will be deprived of glucose and your willpower will go down. So find foods that are low glycemic index foods and incorporate them in your diet, and you'll see a huge improvement in your willpower. You can do a lot more research on low glycemic index foods online, a very common concept nowadays if you're not aware of it. But keep in mind, you want to incorporate low glycemic index foods in your diet in order to sustain your willpower throughout the day. The second key to increasing your willpower is to getting enough sleep, because not getting enough sleep will weaken our self control. It is very, very, very well known now. Not having enough sleep will diminish our self control dramatically, it will diminish our willpower dramatically. The third key is meditation, because meditation is in some form, it's an exercise of our willpower. It's because what we're doing is we're constantly voluntarily directing our mind again and again and again on the topic that we want, on the specific thing that we're meditating on. And that voluntarily direction of your mind over and over and over again increases your willpower. It's an exercise of willpower. So, three keys to increasing your willpower: food, sleep, and meditation. Now, let's talk about today's exercise. This exercise is it's a very interesting exercise because what it does is it tells you how you can get past, how you can um, almost outsmart yourself in this strategy of managing your willpower, because this is pre-commitment, what I call first commit pre-commitment. That's one of the best strategies to manage your willpower, to focus your willpower, to use your willpower in the right way. And here's what you want to do. Here's the exercise for you today. First, figure out what is the goal that you want to hit in the next 1 week. Now, it could be a goal, it could be a task, it could be a project, it could be a habit that you want to create, a habit that we talked about when we talked about the highest leverage use of willpower. Figure out what is it that you want to do. And then the second thing you want to do is commit to hitting that goal. And the way you commit is not just writing it in your diary or writing or just thinking about it, but actually putting a financial stake. There are two ways to commit into it. One of them is to put a financial stake. So tell your friend $20 or whatever you're comfortable with, and tell your friend that if you do not hit this goal in 1 week or whatever the timeline you assign, you $20. So find a friend who would be happy to hold you accountable on this goal, and tell them that if I do not 1 week, I will give you $20, and see how it supercharges your your mental cognition capabilities and focuses you on getting the task done and gives you even more reserves of willpower. The other way to pre-commit is to use social pressure. The first thing what we did was just put a financial stake of whatever dollar amount. Here you want to tell your friends that you will hit this goal in 1 week. And what that telling does is it puts you on the line. It puts your, in some ways, your self-image on the line, and you don't want to tarnish it. So if you go and tell five of your friends that you're gonna do a certain goal within a week, and then you fail, you'll feel bad. And hence, having that social pressure is forcing that commitment all on you, and allows you to have it actually allows you to harness your willpower to get the best use of your willpower in hitting that goal. So, really simple strategy, really simple exercise. Figure out what is the goal that you want to hit in the next 1 week, and then commit to hitting that goal by telling your friends about it or having a financial stake on it, whatever dollar amount you feel comfortable with that you wouldn't want to lose. But so there you have it, today's exercise for willpower. Okay, so let's talk about how to exercise our willpower in order to get stronger, just like a muscle. Go to the gym, we can go and exercise it and make it stronger. Here's the key. The key to exercising our willpower and to make it stronger is to be conscious of when you are doing it, when you are exercising it, when you are doing a strength training of your willpower in some ways, rather than unconscious willpower in ways that don't necessarily benefit. So what you want to do is exercise self-control, exercise that willpower, and you can design your own in any area of life where you want to exercise willpower, and consciously go about doing that. Because what happens is when we exercise self-control, when we exercise willpower in one area of life, it increases, it improves self-control, it improves our willpower in other areas of life. You might have noticed that when you start working out, when you start eating healthy, a lot of your other habits begin to get better. A lot of your other, you tend to have more self-control in other areas of life as well. For just simply, when you're working out, you tend to eat better. You tend to have more self-control in the area of eating. It's really as simple as that. And the key to exercising our willpower, the key to strengthening our willpower through strength training is to make sure first design exercises, design your training experiments, but then also reward yourself for following through on your commitment. So, for example, if you design a training or design your strength training, willpower training, where you say you will sit in front of your work, whatever it is, whatever the work it is, for 1 hour, and no matter what, you'll just focus on that one piece of work, you go ahead and do that 60 minutes of work, and then you reward yourself. You reward yourself, you make your brain feel good about the task that it completed, about the power it executed on, and over time your willpower begins to get better. Other technique you want to use in terms of exercising your willpower is to keep track of your progress, to write it in your journal, to keep track of, okay, today I spent 5 hours, 5 1 hour blocks. Today I spent today I did 5 1 hour blocks of uninterrupted time in terms of my work, in terms of my business. And tomorrow, and this is the trend I'm keeping for the last 1 week, I've spent 41 hour blocks of time. Next week I will do 42 or 44 or whatever the number might be. But keeping track of your progress gives you this sense of accomplishment, and it helps you improve your willpower. It helps you strengthen your willpower, because you can look back and you can realize that you have that strength now. You have that self control now. So that was exercising our willpower. And now let's talk about a whole bunch of awesome strategies that are basically here to tell us how to outsmart ourselves, in the sense that willpower by itself is not enough to win in our lives, because we need to create strategies, our willpower,